I'm your host, Victor Dwyer. Today we have Tyler on from Amped, and today we're going to talk everything when it comes to Google Ads, when it comes to the best practices in sending that. Amped is a really cool tool that can basically track. I'm not even, no, you know what? I'm going to let Tyler explain what Amped is because he's going to laugh at me for whatever I say. So I'm going to pause right there. But yes, Tyler, please tell us your story, how you got into this whole Amazon mess. I always call it a mess because it is a mess. And I'd love to hear your story, how you got started into it, and a little bit of an intro of what Amped is.
Sure thing. Yeah, thanks, Victor, for having me today. And always love talking Google Ads. At Amped, we've been building Google Ads tech for about 7 years now. So we love Google. Also hate parts of it, of course, but we absolutely love what it can do for brands, especially e-commerce, when you have all the data that you need to really understand what's working and what isn't. And that's what Amped does. We essentially are able to connect Google and Amazon together for the first time. We refer to Amped as an ads platform. And the reason we think about it that way is you think about Amazon ads and you have all the data that you need in order to drive profitable and efficient campaigns on Amazon ads. You cannot do that in Google ads to Amazon because of privacy issues. Google and Amazon can't actually talk to each other. So that's why we created the ads platform Amped, which connects the two and essentially creates the same experience that you have on Amazon ads, but with Google ads. Having all the information you need from impressions, clicks, cost, CPC, click-through rate, connected with Amazon conversion data, add to carts, conversion, revenue, ACoS, ROAS, everything you need. It's literally the same data set that you have on Amazon ads, you now have with Google ads. So it's an awesome way for brands to expand and diversify their marketing. $1 goes into Amazon ads. I'm not going to fight you there. But $2, how do you continue growing even when you've found success on Amazon ads? And Google ads is a great way to do it because there's search and buying intent. Google is different than social. Social's, good platforms, good way to raise awareness, but it's really awareness. You're pushing your product in front of people who are not asking for it. Google ads and Google, people are typing what they want. They're asking Google for what they want. And if you can tap into that buying intent, right, into those right keywords, you can really find new customers when they're asking for your product.
That's awesome. And it's really important to, when it comes to like Amped, there's a lot of capabilities when it comes to sending Google ads to Amazon. And it's like Amazon will always be the holy grail of advertising. Like Amazon ads will always be the holy grail of advertising, no matter what it is, because of the high conversion rate and the purchase intent. But big but in there, but that Google ads has the external traffic capability of the additional ranking increase and sales and that lower cost per click as well. So on Amazon, we all know that in Q4, cost per clicks are going to either double or triple because of how big this Q4 is going to be. And on Google, usually the cost per clicks are half, meaning that you can get double the traffic in there for the same cost. And you can have that. Yes, you will have less conversions on that, but it's really important to have some type of thing. Almost every Amazon seller should be doing some type of Google ads because you can either use their managed services or you can just use the platform if you have the time. So it seems like something every Amazon seller should be doing, at least in 2022.
Yeah, the CPCs are always an interesting component to Google. We don't do Amazon ads. All we do is Google ads. That's our bread and butter. That's what we know in and out. And it always it brings a level of excitement when we start engaging with brands and they see the CPCs as they get their campaigns going, and they're shocked at how low they are. Obviously, not every situation, but a lot of times Google is less competitive, especially because these are search ads, right? And being able to tap into the search intent, send it to Amazon, and have that ability to connect the dots at that lower CPC is something that we love to see brands react to. In addition, we have a lot of strategies to really figure out how do you get the lowest CPCs? How do you tap into the way people are searching on Google that isn't as competitive? Obviously CPCs rise when competition's there. So when you can find the keywords that have less competition on them, but are still specific to your product, that's when things can really get efficient. You're right. $1's going to Amazon. You got to do that. You got to ramp up your budgets here in Q4. But being able to supplement that with some off Amazon traffic that can be less expensive is a really great way to do it.
Yeah. What would you recommend? Like the first thing of, I think, in my opinion, when it comes to scaling Amazon and things like that, I don't think as Google as a product launch strategy. I think of it as a more supplemental thing for brands that are doing more than I would say $10,000 to $15,000 worth of dollars in sales to like add additional revenue that you wouldn't have gotten regardless. So that way the budgets are big enough and that you have enough to possibly increase the organic rank rather than using it as a product launch strategy. Do you agree with that?
To an extent, sure. We see
Mhm.
two major use cases. One, established products, they have that social proof. They have a product listing page that converts. They have product market fit. Now it's all about how do we get more traffic to this page and drive up
Mhm.
revenues. So 100%, that is
Yeah.
a great use case. Product launch, we see a lot of great examples to where during that honeymoon period, I don't know, it's the first
True.
month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is,
It's
just
it's so
getting
it's so like different
right.
for every person. Like I'm
Yep,
not, yeah, I'm
exactly.
not even gonna get to, yes, I know what you mean.
Yep. The honeymoon
Mhm.
period, whatever that is to you, whether it's click thresholds, click volume, a length of time, whatever it is in Amazon's black boxed algo, we see that product launches can work really well with external traffic because as Amazon's trying to figure out what this new product is, getting more traffic in there, signaling to Amazon that you're serious about this product, that you're investing in getting traffic there can help. Usually for product launches, we recommend start a Google campaign, run it for a couple months through that honeymoon period, see how that product's doing. If that product's taking off and you're getting these conversions and the social proof and everything, great. Keep that running. If it's struggling along and you got to do a lot of other things, maybe that you want to pull back from Google Ads. So the two use cases we always see: established products, 100%, and then the first couple months of a product launch for sure.
Mhm.
If you have a product that's been running for a little bit that you're struggling to get over the top, but you've had it live for 5 6 months, Google could work, but it's probably not going to be that magic pill to get it
Yeah.
going. So those are the two that we really recommend.
So, question. So, when we were running Facebook ads to Amazon, what ended up happening, we ended up tanking our conversion rate on the page because those people didn't have a very high intent to purchase the buy. But what we did is we put a landing page in the middle that increased so that the ranking, the conversion rate on the page wouldn't go down on Amazon, and then it would increase the likelihood of someone purchasing. So, question for you: since you're sending the traffic directly to Amazon, when you spend a lot of money and you don't get a lot of conversions, I know this is probably not a question you like, but when it comes to, have you ever seen it where a client has sent a lot of traffic from Google to Amazon and decreased their conversion rate on their page, which actually hurt their product?
Sure, it's a great question. And the landing pages that you mentioned, we actually did a lot of that when we first started our Amazon product about a year and a half ago. That was where we started. It was the whole thing. It's like
Uh-huh.
we can't take conversion rates. Got to qualify the traffic first, maybe collect an email, and then send it through. What we saw was through our very extensive testing was that landing page, while it would qualify traffic, you would pay for 100 clicks. The landing page would get rid of 50 of the people, and then now you're paying for 100 people, but only 50 of the people are actually hitting your listing page. And so you're overpaying for that traffic, and all of a sudden your CPCs were low, but you're still paying high for a customer to get to your listing page. So what we saw was once we started applying attribution tags, it didn't matter really what the conversion rates were. Amazon's smart enough to know when they see the attribution tag, that little attribution pixel, that it's external traffic. Amazon knows external traffic converts at a lower rate than Amazon traffic. Amazon traffic's always going to convert the best. And so we've never seen a situation to where when properly tagged Google Ads traffic has hurt ranking. We've only seen it prop it up further. We do normally see, if you have a 20% conversion rate on your product listing page, you bring in Google Ads, it is probably going to bring that overall conversion rate down. But because the external traffic is tagged to a point signaling to Amazon that it is external, they treat it differently. We see it all the time. And Amazon's been doing so many things to incentivize external traffic. When you think about Amazon attribution, they rolled that out 2 years ago. You think about the brand referral bonus, which is a 10% kickback for all revenue that you bring in from external traffic. That was rolled out last year. And then even 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now, they just changed the product listing page, the actual architecture on product listing pages for traffic that comes in externally. So they've done these 3 major things that are really signaling that they treat external traffic differently. Can I share my screen real quick and show you what that
Yeah.
third thing was? I have a visual on it.
Love you.
Let me
Yeah,
see
that'd
here.
be awesome.
Perfect. Yeah. So 3 weeks ago, Amazon announced this. Can you see my screen here?
Yep, we got it.
So before, when you would send in external traffic, someone would search it on Google, they would see your ad, and they would come into your listing page. And here on the left-hand side is the experience they would get. Your product wouldn't even be at the top of the page. There's this competitive widget that would show your competitors' products, and often better products too. So it was this creating this weird dynamic to where you as the brand would pay for it, and then Amazon would immediately put ads at the top saying, hey, you might also like these products. That's like a typical, Amazon, hey, we're just trying to give the best experience to the customer, give them the best product. But it wasn't fair to the brand because the brand paid for that traffic, right? And in some cases, there's better products. You come in on this product, but all of a sudden there's a 28,000 review and a $12 product. Of course, the customer is going to go there. And Amped, actually, with our partnership with Amazon, our CTO surfaced this to our Amazon ad partner team and said, hey guys, like, you're trying to incentivize external traffic. Like, why are you doing this? And the way we found this was we saw that this experience didn't happen on mobile, but it happened on desktop, and mobile was converting a lot better. So we showed this data I didn't show this data. My CTO, who is much smarter than me, showed this data to Amazon, and they said, okay, that's a good point. We're trying to figure out how to get our brands to bring external traffic. Let's take a look at that. And our CTO and Amazon actually spent about 7 months testing it. And 3 weeks ago, Amazon actually changed the architecture on the product listing page. So now if you bring in traffic from Google that's properly tagged, so Amazon knows it's external traffic, that customer no longer sees that competitive widget, but instead that widget was replaced with other products from your brand. So now all of a sudden, this listing page, it went from like a -1 to where there's competition there to a +1 to where you can sell your product, but then you're also selling and cross-selling and upselling that customer with other products from your brand. It's all done automatically. Like, you don't adjust this widget, Amazon does it.
So every time you use an attribution tag, that's what happens?
Yep, exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly.
And what about the placements further down the page? Are those the same?
There's still sponsored ads at the bottom of the page. Okay. And that does still create leakage, right, to where your competition's still down there. We love storefront pages because Amazon storefront pages, because it fully isolates you. But this was a huge step, and we see it in conversion rates. And more importantly, though, it's yet another indication from Amazon that they treat external traffic differently. They want external traffic, and they're encouraging sellers to do it. And so this is a huge step from Amazon to do this.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. So question for you, when it comes to like case study, what would you consider a really good case study? If you can share either the numbers or I don't know what you can provide, but for me, I've never seen a lot of scale behind the Google campaigns from the things I have managed. So like, I bet you guys do it a lot better than me. So you might have crazy stories, but when it comes to the scalability, are you having clients that are spending $20,000 a month and getting like a one ROAS? Like, I'd love to hear some case studies on that.
Yeah, we have those case studies. I'll share a few here. We don't like to set that expectation of a 1 ACOS.
100%. Yes.
But we have seen it, and especially with the brand referral bonus program, we see people that will get a 5% ACOS on Google, throw in your 10% brand referral bonus. All of a sudden, that's a -5% ACOS, right?
Interesting.
So that can happen. We see it happen. It's not the norm, right? So we don't really love sharing all those use cases out because we don't want expectations set the right way. The best case studies that I see is when you bring in external traffic and your ranking skyrockets. and your total sales increases. We always try to teach our brands, think about it as tacos. It's clear that Amazon is rewarding external traffic. We see it in rank performance and rank increases. We see it in total sales increases. So our favorite is when brands will come in 2 or 3 months in and say, guys, my tacos was 10%, and we turned on Google Ads for a few months. My sales are at my sales 1.3, 1.4x, and my tacos is still at 10%. And I only changed one variable, and that was adding in Google Ads. So those are our favorite case studies. Other products, though, like I've seen a lot of products that are super competitive on Amazon. Think, I don't know, just like think like kind of generic products where there's just hundreds of them, like a sponge or something like that. If you look at sponge on Amazon, there's probably like 100,000 sponges that you can buy. If you put those products work pretty well on Google because you put that out on Google, you bypass your competition, you send it to your product listing, your Amazon storefront, and now you're standing out from the crowd. So products like that can see better ACoS on Google than on Amazon because of how competitive those products can be within the Amazon ads ecosystem. Again, we don't like to set that expectation that your Google ACoS is going to be better than your Amazon ACoS. As you said, and I agreed with, $1 goes to Amazon, $2 goes to Google. But if you're in a really competitive space on Amazon ads, Google ads can be as or more efficient.
So question, when it comes to, so if you're a seller, you have the Google ads set up within Amped, everything's set. When it comes to optimization of what's working, so since you don't send that data to Google automatically, how do you do the next stage of optimization? Like,
Right.
like when say for keyword A, it's giving you lots of sales. Keyword B is getting you no sales. How do you have to manually go and up the bid for keyword A and lower the bid for keyword B?
Yeah. So what AMP does is we do automated bidding. So you don't have to worry about the granular individual bidding on that. What we try to surface, though, is what keywords are efficient and what keywords are inefficient. And we show that very clearly in our platform. So, and what we teach, month 1, you're testing, collecting data. Month 2, you're honing in on what's working, making data-driven decisions. Month 3, you're kind of understanding how efficient your campaigns can be. So exactly as you laid out, keyword 1 converting really well, keyword 2 not converting well, but taking up budget. Once it hits a certain threshold, just pause that keyword. You found a keyword that's working. Let's start pushing more budget into that high performing keyword. And the whole point is in the first 1 or 2 months, you're testing a variety of keywords, different keyword groups, trying to understand, okay, I know how people search and buy on Amazon ads. How are people searching for my product on Google? And that's the exact data that AMP is going to help reveal.
So question, so we said automated bidding, so will it automatically increase the bids to making sure your placements are there? Obviously you have to manually adjust the budget 100%, but when it comes down to the bidding, it actually increases the bid when you start getting a lot of sales there?
Yeah, so we actually deploy automated bidding from Google. So it's Google technology that we're able to leverage
Got it.
in this. And whenever you can, you try to leverage Google's better technology. We don't take every recommendation from Google Ads. Google Ads doesn't fully understand the nuances of Google to Amazon. I can tell you horror stories of people accepting Google recommendations and saying, hey, Google told me to do it. So you don't always do it. But we use what we call maximize for clicks. And what this does is it gets you as many clicks as possible at the lowest price possible, trying to be as competitive as possible in the bidding marketplace. And that does a really, really good job. We've been doing Google ads for 7 years. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, you would do manual bidding. About 2 years ago, Google really started saying, like, you can still do manual bidding, but they really started pushing everyone towards taking the automated bidding algorithms. They work pretty well. You can do manual, but it is super, super labor intensive. And I've seen situations where it can work better, but for the most part, Google's really pushing all their customers to really use the automated bidding.
It really is the future of advertising. Like everything's going to be automated, like where we're just going to like load things up, which as an advertiser is a scary concept because yes, advertisers will be like fiddled out just a little bit, but then that's where the strategy comes into play to really distinguish yourself in the future of advertising is yes, like let's say everything's automated where every business can press one button and it advertises. But then differentiating yourself that's when marketing comes in. Like where you have different creatives, different headlines, whatever it may be, that can't be automated. That is going to be like, there's always going to be another little hack in the marketing world because your job is to be doing what everyone else isn't doing. So, for example, if everyone's doing Amazon ads, your job is to be doing Google ads. If everyone moves to
Yep.
Google ads, your job is to be doing TikTok ads. Like literally, like that's the game of marketing. Like whoever moves the fastest wins. And right now, it's Google. That's just the way it is.
That's 100% it. And our CEO actually just talked at a conference down in Florida this last week, and that was one of his things. Like 2 years from now, every Amazon seller who's doing pretty well is probably going to figure out Google Ads. Right now, it's still pretty new. It's this opportunity to get out ahead and do something. But circling back on what you said is everything's moving towards automation, 100%. I remember 2 years ago, we had pretty sophisticated technology to help on manual bidding. And Google came in and kind of laid down the hammer and was like, there's no more manual bidding. And so we fought it for a little while. And then finally, we just accepted it and said, all right, we'll do the automated bidding. And right now, Google's big thing is they're trying to take over keyword picking. Nope, they're not going to be able to do it. And the reason they're not able to do it, at least right now, because they don't know your product. They can read your listing page, they can read the descriptions, but they don't understand the exact keywords and exactly the nuances of how to do your products. So from
100%.
our standpoint, the biggest part about creating your campaigns is being smart about the keywords. And I know one of the main things we're going to talk about today is like, what's the common mistakes to avoid with Google Ads to Amazon? And it's the keywords. What will happen is a lot of brands will say, hey, these keywords work on Amazon. I'm going to plug them into Google. That's not going to work. For the most part, people search the platforms very different ways. So you have to really understand and invest in keyword research on Google to figure out how are people searching for my product in the buying stage, in that side of the funnel, and then going to Amazon and purchase. And that's what a lot of our technology helps do. And that's what our data strategists that help our brands are very, very skilled at, is, cutting through and saying what keywords work. The other side of it is like the common mistake is you just plug in your Amazon keywords. The other common mistake is letting Google pick your keywords. So Google has what they call keyword recommendations, or even worse, they have dynamic ad groups. Dynamic ad groups, how they work is they read your product, the landing page, and then forego keywords and just automatically match what they think people are searching on Google to your product listing page. Is horrible because the technology isn't smart enough yet to really understand the keywords. So don't take the Google's recommendations on keywords. Don't take their recommendation on dynamic ad groups. If you're ever in Google Ads interface and you see dynamic come up, ignore it. Google's great. They're going to figure it out. They will. And maybe some of the people on LinkedIn that follow me from the Google team are listening. You guys will figure it out, but it's not there yet. And as marketers right now, we need to be able to understand what technology really, really works and what just is a couple of years out. And, manually, let's fill that hole right now with our creative strategies.
So you went through some of the common ways to like not do. What are some of the best practices on Google to really make a successful Google campaigns and make a lot of products successful?
Yeah. So the thing I teach a lot of our brands is there's 3 big components. It's keywords, which you got to do manually. It's ad copy, and it's landing page experience. Keywords, you just got to be very product specific. That's as simple as I can put it. Things, if you're selling like, I don't know, a whiskey glass or something like that, you can't do like gifts for men or gifts for dad or stuff like that on Google. Those keywords are too generic. You have to be product specific. So whiskey glass for men. So product specific keywords. The second thing is ad copy. Avoid clickbaity ad copy. I know for a lot of brands on Amazon, you don't really do a lot of ad copy within your Amazon sponsored ads. So with Google, that's a little bit different. And what we really recommend is avoid the clickbaity stuff. Try to describe the product as best as you can. And you were talking earlier about sending people to a landing page to qualify them. Use the ad copy to qualify them. Like if you have a high priced item, you're selling a $1,000 item, put that in your ad copy, and tell the people before they click on it that this is $1,000. And it's almost to the point of saying, don't click on this ad unless you're actually buying, potentially buying my product. So very descriptive product, very descriptive ad copy. And the third side is landing page experience. So as I mentioned, we've been doing Google Ads for a long time, and
Yeah.
we spent about a year and a half, 2 years sending traffic to Shopify and big commerce sites. And what we found was, like, there's a lot that goes into converting someone on a Shopify page. Like, you got to have the brand credibility. People need to trust the brand, trust the website, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All of that is built into Amazon. And so when we would send traffic to Shopify, a small portion of our audience would actually, a small portion of the traffic would actually convert, because you have to build out that landing page to convince and sell that customer. With Amazon, it's so much more transactional. You send it to
Yeah.
a product listing page and it converts. We've seen it. Like, it was wild when we just flipped the script and said, instead of sending to Shopify, we're sending it to Amazon. Conversion rates skyrocketed across the board for us. But that doesn't mean you can just send it to product listing pages and just, leave it there. What we've seen is product listing pages work, but if you have the right product and you can set up an Amazon storefront, what it does is you can build out the storefront page to sell your customer. So when they land on your product listing page, a lot of the time your keyword stuffing, the description's a little bit messy, but it's Amazon. You do that, you play the game for those reasons. With Amazon storefronts, you can make a really clean page. You can put in stuff that your customer needs to know about your product. Maybe you have issues with people returning your product because they buy the wrong size. Well, you can clarify all that on your Amazon storefront. Things like, don't purchase this until you get the right size. You can write that stuff into your storefront and overcome a lot of the objections, overcome some of the stuff that you've learned about your customers. And all those little things that you do can really improve conversion rates. Obviously, storefronts don't have any competition on them, so that's a good plus. But building out the page to really sell and educate is such an awesome opportunity. And the way I think about it is, you can basically make your Amazon storefront look exactly like your Shopify page, except it's Amazon and there's 2-day shipping and your credit card's saved and all that stuff. So it's a great way to improve conversion rates.
True. So question, does Amped have like an easy way to send traffic to the storefront right now?
Yep, super easy. Basically, you create the campaign in Amped, and then Amped allows you to pick where you send the traffic to. So you just change the final destination to the storefront. We'll make sure your storefront is set up in the way that we recommend it. We have resources in our help center that really describe what a transactional storefront looks like. Most Amazon storefronts are set up lifestyle imagery, and they're not transactional. So before you just send traffic to your storefront, review our articles, reach out to our support team, and we can let you know if we think that page is set up to be transactional. If it's not set up, we have resources to help you go do it the right way. And we saw such good performance with storefronts that we actually created a design team that can actually set up storefront pages for our brands. So if you want us to do it, we can do it. If you want to do it yourself, we'll give you the resources to do it as well.
That's really, really cool. Huh. Do you have an article with the best practices on setting up an Amazon storefront?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So we do a pretty good job of laying out of, like, it's got to be the product front and center above the fold, and then building out the kind of your A+ content below it. Think about it as just recreate your product listing page, but remove the competition and bring your A+ content to the top of the page, right? Like, it always blows my mind. I mean, you have to do A+ content, but half the time as a consumer, I very rarely ever get to the A+ content because it's so far down that page.
It is.
Storefronts, you can bring it to the top. So we have an article that walks through and kind of lays out what a good page looks like.
That's cool. Can you send me that article? I think that'd be very valuable to the audience.
Yeah, definitely.
If not for this, like the people that are watching right now, if also for like the future people, because I think that's just valuable in general to building good storefronts. So
100%.
I have historically never like recommended investing a lot of resources into the storefront, because just from the natural traffic from the storefront usually isn't worth it. like of like
Right.
just the random people that come through and click on the storefront, it's usually very minimal, very, very small. But in this case, it would be worth investing in a storefront when it comes to sending external traffic to the storefront in that case.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Like until Amazon attribution came out, like there's no way to get traffic to your Amazon storefront. I think it's interesting. It's one of the many ways that Amazon's being much more brand focused. Obviously, they're pushing a lot of people more towards the 3P selling side of things, giving more ability to actually sell products with your brand. But until recently, there's no way to get traffic there. And yes, now they started rolling out sponsored brand ads, which is a good way to do it. But you're right. We see so many brands don't have built out storefronts, and I don't blame them. I mean, why build it out if there's no way to send traffic there? I can show you a couple kind of quick examples of what good storefronts look like, and I can also send you the article as well. Let me share my screen here. Let's see here. So the key principles of a good storefront page is lead with your brands and have your products purchasable. Can you see my screen here, Victor?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So Yankee Candle here, what's great about this page is first off, actually, I'll show you the full example. You go to Yankee Candle, you just go to their D2C store. I don't know if it's Shopify or what it is, but this is their direct consumer experience. Sorry for all my pop-ups here. This is their direct consumer experience.
Cool.
Let me get a product page, candles. So they have their brand, Yankee Candle. They've got their products here. You can add them to bag. And obviously Yankee Candle is a good brand and they know what they're doing. But at the same time, you know, my credit card isn't saved on this website, right? I'm sure I'm going to
Yeah.
have to pay for shipping and all that good stuff. When you go to their Amazon store, it looks pretty similar. Yankee Candle, same exact branding, except it's Amazon. You got the products, super easy to buy, add to cart, my credit card saved, and it's really, really clean. But they're just deploying all typical standard D2C principles. They're just now able to do that on Amazon and leverage all the conversion rates that they can get on Amazon. So this is just a pretty basic example. You can get more sophisticated with it, but using your product grid formats or your product grid sections on your Amazon storefronts is a really, really good way to sell categories. And then if you have an individual product, you can do similar things. I don't know if Yankee Candle has any individual product pages, obviously, but there's really great ways. And our article highlights how to do a product specific landing page. But you can see why this works, right? It's the brand, it's Amazon, and I can click add to cart on all these products.
Yeah, and if you want multiple, you can just go ahead and add to cart to any of them. That's awesome.
Yep. And we saw that in our data when we started testing Amazon storefronts. We saw that units per purchase, that's a metric that we pull through the API, increased. So conversion
Really?
rates increased for sure because there's less competition around. The logic makes sense. But we also saw that the add to cart numbers were even bigger because people were cross-selling and upselling.
Wow. Huh. So question for you. When it comes to if I were to send the traffic directly to the product page, the normal product page on Amazon versus the storefront, a product specific storefront, what gets the higher conversion rate, the product page or the product specific storefront?
Usually the product specific storefront. We see
Really?
on average, it's about 2 to 3 times higher conversion rates. So
Wow.
we really recommend it to build those out and then send your external traffic there. Not every case, right? I mean, if you have a product that you have the best price and the highest reviews, you probably don't have a leaky funnel. But think about this. I'll share my screen again. Just the kind of the logic's there and the data backed it up. So if you send traffic here and the consumer can pick between any of these candles and they're all Yankee Candle, that makes sense. If you send the traffic here, obviously a lot of reviews, I'm guessing that's a pretty good price. I bet this page converts pretty well. However, all it takes is someone to scroll down a little bit and now there's village candles, right? There's all sorts of other candles that might have better pricing, might have more reviews, whatever it is, that it's distracting. We call this a leaky funnel. And kind of typical D2C, when D2C marketing, you're doing full funnel marketing. On Amazon, everyone's so used to bottom of the funnel, but this is a leaky funnel. There's areas where people can drop out, not purchase your product, get distracted, and losing a customer because they're distracted, it's the worst, right? You got a customer that wants to buy your product, but they see a different product that looks similar, maybe better price. That's tough. But with your storefront, we see that customers are a lot less price sensitive because Amazon's not throwing out a million different products that might have better prices on.
Wow. Huh. That is really fascinating. That's really cool. Yeah, please share that article with me. That's really fascinating. And is there anything else that you wanted to make sure you communicate today that has been on top of mind? Anything new that's been coming out, or anything that AMP is planning on rolling out? Is there anything that you want to make sure you tell?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff that we're rolling out on our side. Our engineering team's been working pretty hard on a bunch of new features. One of the ones is seller central connections to really start to measure the halo impact as you bring in external traffic. And
Cool.
we were just on a webinar. Amazon hosted a webinar for us a couple weeks ago, and that's actually when they kind of announced that competitive widgets being gone. But they also shared case studies on the impact of external traffic on ranking. We've seen it for years to where it seems to affect ranking, but we've never gotten the verbal, like, yes, it does from Amazon. They shared some case studies that explicitly said external traffic does impact ranking. So we're working to actually quantify and measure that impact that it has on your bottom line, right? So that's something that we're coming out with. And then
that's very, very bold. That's going to be very difficult. I've been trying to do that because there's like a quadrillion amount of variables in that. Because it could be like seasonality, it could be like all these crazy things.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You guys are attempting to. Keep me updated on how you guys like do it, but that would be pretty insane.
Nope. I'm glad you said that, and I want you to tell all my customers that too, because they're chomping at the bit for that. Obviously, there's ways to kind of manually do it, but there's so many variables you have to control. And our team's set up to do it because we have a really great, sophisticated data science engine that can actually quantify and measure that and try to isolate variables. But it's difficult, right? Like, it's not something that you just, throw engineers at for 2 weeks and roll something out in reporting. It's a very, very complex number to get down to. And as a data science company, like, we can't roll something out that's not precise, that's not super accurate. So it takes time. But we've been working on it for a while. We're getting pretty close to it. So we're excited to.
Are you guys tracking organic rankings or just sales?
Yeah, the end goal is sales. Right now, we do some rank tracking in our platform. We track BSR, we track rank on a couple search terms and whatnot. But the end goal is sales. Really getting those tacos equations in there, really understanding what all is going into your total sales, right? Like, you could try to manufacture rank, raise your budgets by $1 million, but what happens if your competition did the same thing? What if they raised their budgets by $2 million, right? So not only do we have to control for your variables, we have to control for other variables outside of that as well. So it's very complex. You're absolutely right. But we've been working on it for a while. We're getting pretty close.
Awesome. Yeah, let me know how that goes. That's a very bold undertaking for sure. And is there anything else that you're excited that is rolling out pretty soon, or is that is that it?
Yeah, that's big. And then we're also really working on automated optimizations, and this is something that is so important because when you run campaigns right now, like, you do need to optimize the campaigns. And we have a team, if you're a brand and you're like, I don't want to learn Google Ads, I just want you guys to do it for us. We have what we call Amped Pro. And our Amped Pro team has data strategists that can work your campaigns and optimize them for you. We also have Amp certified agencies that you guys can engage with as well. But a lot of brands also do self-serve, where they try to figure out Google Ads for themselves. So we're pretty excited to give them some automated optimizations that can help them. They'll set up a campaign and then turn on Amped Autopilot, which is coming soon, to where it's going to allow you to not have to actively manage it, not have to look every day or every few days and make decisions. Cool. Our data science engine is going to be doing a lot of the optimizations for you.
That's awesome.
So we're excited about that as well, especially for our self-serve customers, to give them more of that horsepower to make the right decisions. Because if you've never done Google Ads before, you got to learn. So we provide a lot of resources, but instead of teaching someone to do it, I'd rather have our technology do it. So we're excited about those two things.
That is so cool. Awesome. Yeah. So please tell them how to find Amped, how to get into contact with you, where to find you, where to see where you're posting content. Please tell the audience how to get all that information.
Yeah, definitely. Would love anyone connect with me on LinkedIn. It's just Tyler Gregg at Amped. Find me there. Should be pretty easy to find. Shoot me a connection request. Mention this webinar. We'd love to know where you guys heard about Amped, and that will obviously allow us to connect at a deeper level. But if you're interested in testing out Google Ads, would love to help out. Check us out at amped.io. That's AMPD. You can see on my shirt, amped.io. And then if you sign up, we offer a couple ways. The self-serve way, we encourage you guys to join our onboarding training sessions where we try to teach you guys the right optimizations and how to set things up. Or even better, join us on Amped Pro, which is our done-for-you service, to where our data strategist will schedule an onboarding call with you, a private onboarding call, learn your business, learn your products, create the campaigns for you, optimize everything for you. And we are doing a coupon for you guys today to get started. If you use, let's see, it is join amped 30, join amped 30, 30, and that is 30% off your first month of Amped Pro. So it's a really great way to kind of lower that higher expense that we're going to do it for you. So that's a pretty big give by our leadership team to be able to provide that, since that is human services, not a lot of margins on human services, as you can imagine, especially with our team of data strategists.
I know. Oh, believe me, I know. I'm
Yep.
from Pain. Yes.
Yep. And all of our data strategists are in Seattle. And with Amazon here, Microsoft here, it's not inexpensive data strategist by any
It's so
means.
cheap. It's so cheap.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to do that, it's a great way to get started. And it's month to month. So you can try it out for a couple months. If you're liking the results, fantastic. And hopefully our team can get you set up in the right direction.
Cool. Yes. Tyler, thank you so much for joining. And thank you everyone for watching. This is the Failures and Wins podcast. We will talk to you next time. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Victor.